I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today
channel.
we're watching Neon Genesis Evangelion, episode 13. Last episode, we got a little bit of Misato's backstory. We got to see where the scar came from. We got to see her father place her in that pod and what looked like to be an Evangelion/angel in the background. We also got Shinji's reason and motivation for wanting to pilot an Evangelion.
It felt like it was a really big episode, but I feel like we always watch these episodes and say, wow, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Wow, that felt incredibly important. Wow, the animation there. Wow.
Yeah, that's true. Good work, Evangelion.
Good work.
Good work, Shinji. You ready?
Yep.
Sweet. So for some reproductions or yeah, you're right, yeah. For some I'm seeing so many different things. Sorry. So when I watch Dragon Ball, I've tried to rewatch the original Dragon Ball, and some websites have it like zoomed in to get like the aspect ratio changes. I wonder if they ever did that with Neon Genesis Evangelion, and if they did, how awful that must have been. You have to see it like this. Wow. Were those the names of them? Angel invasion.
Well, that doesn't sound good. Autopilot test. They have it rough. But not from each other.
It's an emotional thing.
Directly from your bodies. What an idea for the test. And we just checked the supercomputer at the beginning of the episode.
Are the Evangelions naked too? Balthazar, Melchior.
Brought this, it's like raised it.
Was my mother and Casper. She did mention it earlier in the episode. Yeah, and it's rushed.
Is that gonna be too late? Oh, whoa! Is that what we're talking about? Because that looks bad.
That's scary.
From the actual, like, the Eva armor? Wow. That's crazy.
What?
What?
Oh, look at it.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
What am I watching?
An angel. How?
What are these simulation bodies?
Oh man.
Who are you on the phone with? So are we trying to keep it a secret?
It's too close to Adam. Holy shit. I have so many questions.
Were we on the phone with Kaji? We were doing autopilot tests, right? Could that come into play? So the corrosion itself is an angel?
Inject more ozone. What the fuck? It's evolving.
That which used to be a threat to it isn't anymore. No human being could do this.
It refuses to accept the command. Holy shit. Oh no.
Ritsuko's basically watching her mother's creation go down.
It's been reprogrammed. Ho, 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 ho.
And all you can do is just watch. It's hacking.
Oh my god.
This is insane.
What can we do?
ロジックモードを変更。シンクロコードを15秒単位にして。了解。
どのぐらいの今までのスピードから見て2時間くらいは。敵に回るとはな。
彼らはマイクロマシン。
Micro machines.
サイズの使徒と考えられます。
Angels the size of microbes.
Well, that's awful.
この短時間で知能回路の形成に至るまで爆発的な進化を遂げています。彼らは常に自分自身を変化させ、いかなる状況にも対処するシステムを模索しています。
生物の生きるための
The system of life itself.
進化を続ける目標に対して有効な手段は死なばもろとも。マギと心中してもらうしかないわ。マギシステムの物理的消去を提案します。
But what the supercomputer does.
同義なのよ。
では作戦部から正式に要請するわ。何意地張ってんのよ。
私のミスから始まったことなのよ。人が進化し続けるのなら賞賛はあります。
進化の即進化ね。
はい。
進化の終着地点は自滅。死そのものだ。
目標がコンピューターそのものならカスパーを使徒に直結、逆ハックを仕掛けて自滅促進プログラムを送り込むことができます。
同時に使徒に対しても防壁を解放することにもなります。
カスパーが早いか使徒が早いか勝負だな。
はい。
All our money on Casper.
終わりなのよ。
It's a good name.
約束は守るわ。
I'll keep my promise.
Wow.
何ですかこれ。
Notes from her mom or something?
開発者のいたずら。
びっくり。これなんてイントの C よ。これなら意外と早くプログラムできますね。
Ritsuko's expression. Man.
ありがとう母さん。確実に間に合うわ。
Ikari, you jerk. Now I want to meet her mom.
I know. She's probably dead.
Take me back in time to when she created this.
ねえ、少しは教えてよマギのこと。
Please.
長い話よ。その割に面白くない話。
I beg to differ.
人格移植 OS って知ってる？
ねえ、第7世代の有機コンピューターに個人の人格を移植して思考させるシステム。エヴァーの操縦にも使われている技術よね。
マギはその第1号らしいわ。
じゃあお母さんの人格を移植したの？
そう。言ってみればこれは母さんの脳みそそのものなのよ。
それでマギを守りたかったの？
違うと思うわ。母さんのことそんなに好きじゃなかったか。科学者としての判断ね。
来た！バルダダールが乗っ取られました！
人工知能により自立自爆が決議されました。
始まったの？
自爆装置は三者一致の後秒で行われます。
Look at the
自
cat.
爆範囲はジオイド震度マイナス
Come on.
0フロアです。自爆装置作動まであと20秒。
ニコン
Come on.
18秒後に乗っ取られます。
No, we got this.
作動まであと15秒。作動まで
1秒近くの余裕があるよ。
1秒。
ゼロマイナスじゃない。マヤ、
いけます。
4秒3秒
押して。
1秒0秒。
Oh,
Yes.
Ritsuko.
人工知能により自立自爆が解除されました。もう解除されました。マギシステム通常モードに
Oh, one whole second, huh?
第一種警戒態勢に
何がどうなってんの？
Honestly.
裸でどこにも出れないじゃないの。早く誰か助けて。
Oh my god.
また約束守ってくれたわね。お疲れさん。
ありがとう。
Is it cold?
くれたコーヒーをこんなにうまいと思ったのは初めて。
Aw.
死ぬ前の晩、母さんが言ってたわ。マギは3人の自分なんだって。科学者としての自分、母としての自分、女としての自分、その3人がせめぎ合っているのがマギなのよ。人の持つジレンマをわざと残したのね。
Left in the dilemmas of the human experience.
だけど科学者としてのあの人は尊敬もしていた。でもね、 女としては憎んでされたの。
今日はおしゃべりじゃない。
たまにはね。
Wonder if that spoke to Misato at all, to her father.
カスパーにはね、女としてのパターンがインプットされていたの。最後まで女でいることを守ったのねと母さんらしいわ。
Holy shit, man.
That feels like that was a blur.
Okay, that was episode 13 of Neon Genesis Evangelion. That was a lot.
Definitely a lot of dialogue for that episode.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, the angel being what it was and being the size of microbes is utterly terrifying.
In itself.
It
being that small and that plentiful in itself is already terrifying and awful.
Yeah. And that coming after the Magi is even... That's tenfold terrifying because we've seen in the past few episodes especially how heavily we rely and trust the Magi, and it's
a replacement for the government.
Yeah, and obviously we see or hear who created it in the first place, Ritsuko's mother, and we saw Ritsuko's response to Misato suggesting that we just get away with it in general, you know?
It's like these things as small as microbes, not only that, and obviously what its target is, but then the next thing is the evolution of it. It is continuously getting stronger.
Yeah.
That is also so terrifying.
Go on.
I was just going to say that I really appreciated the line of thinking. I had a lot of fun with the line of thinking of, well, if it's evolving at an alarming rate, then get it to go to the end of its life cycle.
Yeah.
That line of thinking.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the line that we get after talking about that. Expedite its evolution? Yes. The end of evolution is self-destruction. Death itself.
This was one of my favorite moments in this episode, just based on dialogue and what we're talking about. I just really loved that idea of like, well, how do you combat something that seemingly is moving at a really high rate of speed, faster maybe than you can work. I mean, especially if you think about what we're seeing visually in this episode, we're seeing these just ordinary people, not ordinary, I'm sure they're incredibly smart to be in the positions they're in, but just clacking away at these keyboards and trying to get to whatever they're trying to get to fast enough to undo the damage that is being done by this corrosion. And I couldn't help but sit there and just as Misato is standing there and Ritsuko is standing there, like, imagine you're the person that can't be hands-on to the computer and you're just watching someone else in this almost like doomsday timing, clacking away, trying to stop it, and you just are standing there watching them. I don't know whose shoes I would rather be in. I think I'd probably rather be in the shoes of the person watching someone else have to, like, try to combat this.
Yeah. I feel like Ritsuko, this episode was solely Ritsuko, it felt like, right? Like, we had Asuka, Rei, and Shinji, locked away naked, floating for a lot of the episode. Which is like a
horrible situation to be in.
And I hope that Rei's okay. I know we got confirmation that she was before they managed to escape, but I hope that to be true.
The only shot we get of her in the aftermath, we don't even really see her, like, reaction on her face, her expression. We get Shinji and Asuka in a way that feels like we more see their state of being. But I feel like Rei, we don't really get her state of being. We see that the pods are, floating in water somewhere. I hope someone goes and picks them up quickly with extra clothes or a robe or a towel or something. But we didn't really see her face, Rei's face. And so I also hope that she's okay. What if it just looks like she's okay? The system says she's okay, but can that really tell us what's going on in her brain?
Yeah, in my mind, I was like, oh my god, did, like, her wrist break or something once we see what happened to the body?
Like, blowing off of the arm because it was reaching toward Misato?
Yeah, but I'm going to trust that she's okay because that's what they said.
And we trust them.
Another squad of 3 with names that we have are the Magi and the names of them. Casper, Balthazar, and Melchior.
I was going to ask you if you had a favorite of the names.
No. Do you?
Casper.
Okay.
But also Balthazar makes me think of Malamar, the Pokemon.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting... I have so many other places that I'd go first from Balthazar, but that's cool. I wonder how they were named. So, okay, I'm pulling it up now. It means nothing, I don't think. But During the episode, I saw one of the notes here, and it says Cass, and the Cass is circled in a red square. But obviously, it's different iterations of that everywhere on the screen. But I was like, ooh, is Cass only one piece of a bigger word that's split up into three? And like Bart would be the other one, and be some huge intricate thing. But I don't think that to be the case.
I feel like there should be some sort of origin to why these names were chosen. Okay, so we should just break it down. What is struggling for dominance here is the scientist, the mother, and the woman.
Yeah.
That is Ritsuko's mom. And so, is there something in the origin of these names that attach better to scientist, mother, or woman? And that's why we've chose these names that we did? Maybe.
My head immediately goes to religion because it's Evangelion, but I don't recognize any of these names in terms of like the Catholic religion that was taught to me.
Casper's a friendly ghost.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I wanted to talk about the actual lines we get.
Okay.
About the Maji and the creation of it, because it all comes from Misato asking to know a little bit about it.
Which is a very sweet moment. Like, we're in a high-stakes situation here, but, like, we're friends and we're trying to ask for a story time.
It's a long story and not a very interesting one. Do you know about Personality Transplant OS? What we're about to get into is some of the craziest shit I have heard in Neon Genesis Evangelion so far. It's a system that implants an individual's personality into a 7th generation organic computer so it can think. It's the same technology used for operating the EVAs, right? I've heard Maji was the first of them. My mother developed the technology. So it was her personality that was implanted? Right. Now we're cutting open the skull, if you will. In a very real sense, this is my mother's brain, and we take off the skull to expose what looks like to be a brain. I know that the focus here should be Ritsuko and how this is, her mother's brain in a very real sense, and the personality there. My mind immediately goes to the Evangelions, though, and how this is that operating system as well, and how that applies. If that's the case, whose personalities would be in each Evangelion?
That's the question, literally. As I was literally going to say that if you didn't. Like, if her mother's personality was the personality utilized for the Maji system, what about the personalities for the EVAs if we're saying it's similar technology? Especially when you get the idea of synchronizing and compatibility with the pilots. And the fact that we have to find specific kids that are able to be pilots. There has to be some special element to them where they are the perfect ones to be doing this job.
Well, we have talked about lightly Asuka's mother and there being something there. We don't know anything about Shinji's mother. And we don't know anything about Rei in general. So
but does it have to be mother? Father. Shinji's father is obviously the head of Nerve.
Yeah, that's true.
And the one EVA that he wants to make sure he saves is 01.
Yeah, you're right. I guess, no, you're 100% right. When I'm thinking about it, I'm, like, imagining, like, oh, Ritsuko's mother is dead, and we see, like, the brain here, even though it isn't, but see that personality transfer, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if the person has to be dead for that transfer to occur, but that doesn't necessarily at all have to be the case since Ritsuko's mother was the one who built this.
Imagine how messed up it would be if it is Gendo's personality for Unit 01 and Shinji's able to synchronize so well with it.
Yeah.
Think of that. The fact that he views there's this discordant note between him and his father, and yet in the rawest sense, when he's bearing his soul to this EVA that he's inside piloting, they're, in the most organic and raw sense, they're able to synchronize in harmony and fight angels.
See, I don't bring up mother because that's what we have with Ritsuko this episode. I brought up mother because of specifically Asuka and it being talking about her mother,
That's
not
fair.
her father.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I don't know. I don't know what would be needed to synchronize, because you're right in bringing that point up, right? That's a huge proponent in all of this, and you just assume, right, that if the synchronization is a part of it, the closer the personality or the closer in relation to a person you'd be, the easier it would be to synchronize.
Mm-hmm.
That's where like logic would lead me.
Yeah, I can think about certain personality types, and I feel like if you were having to synchronize with a personality, there's definitely some that would be harder for a majority of people to synchronize with.
Yeah. I wanted to bring it up because we get it earlier in the episode about the talk of destroying the Magi and Ritsuko being so opposed to it. And I was wondering when it happened, like, oh, is that, well, after the fact, is that why she wanted to protect the Magi? But it's brought up by Misato right here, and I appreciate Ritsuko's honesty in a response back. I don't think so. I didn't really like my mother that much. This was a decision as a scientist.
Mm-hmm. And then later on, she brings up that as a woman, her feelings about her mother like come from that part of her, not from the scientist part of her.
This is the first time I've ever really appreciated your coffee. The night before she died, my mother told me that the Magi are 3 aspects of herself. Herself as a scientist, herself as a mother, herself as a woman. The Magi is those 3 aspects struggling for dominance. She intentionally left in the dilemmas of a human experience. That's so interesting.
The fact that they would all want to, honestly, it makes it so none are going to be overshadowed. That it's going to be 3 things. Though they're struggling for dominance, they all have their own will and push to be able to exist. They all want to exist.
I don't think I'll ever be a mother. So I don't understand her as a mother. But I respected her as a scientist. However, as a woman, I even hated her. God, I love
that breakdown.
Me too. I love that she leads with the aspect of her not being able to talk on her being a mother because she isn't one. That's a mature character.
The fact that Ritsuko's mom viewed all these 3 aspects of herself as, I would say this shows her putting each of these aspects of herself as equally important to the making of her being, like who she is, her personality. And it takes me back even to Misato's father, because we get that idea of a scientist first, not a father first, not a father even on equal footing with scientists. And think about Gendo. Where would he put being a man, a scientist, and a father? Would they all be together like Ritsuko's mother, or would they be, and also who's the one to say that?
Yeah.
You yourself are saying, oh, that's how it is, but would your kids say the same looking at you and the example you're leading in your life? Would they say that you're being a father in the same equal footing as you being a scientist?
I wonder if Ritsuko's mother was at all like Asuka in terms of personality. We get the note that's left in there that says, Ikari, you jerk. And I feel like that's something 1-for-1 of what Asuka would say to Shinji.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I wish that we could see them back then. And Misato talks about the college days. I want a prequel. I want to live in a prequel.
I don't think Misato wants us to see her being so cozy with Kaji, so...
Okay, you brought up Kaji.
Which is one of my questions.
10:14 I have as a timestamp.
I wrote it down. I was like, please have us go back in the discussion to see what it is that Kaji is doing.
Yeah.
That's what I have in my notebook.
So we get Gendo on the phone with someone, but it isn't necessarily at all Kaji. All of the central dogma under Sigma unit will be completely closed off in 60 seconds. So that's the angel. Guess I don't have time for work now. Like, it could definitely be nothing and just like, ooh, let's check in on what Kaji's doing right now. But I don't know if... it felt a little odd.
Mm-hmm. It could be nothing also that this scene that he's in, this floating box in the air, almost similar to a gondola that he was riding in with a woman that we don't know the name of, talking about what Nerve was up to and whether or not we were going to stop them. So I just feel like I'm continuously, not only because of how important Kaji seems to be in terms of what intel he's able to acquire from Gendo or the missions that he's on, but that character that he was talking to. I have so many questions about him. I am suspicious of him. So of course...
Of Kaji?
Yeah, so of course I'm like, well, what is he doing right now? Is he who Gendo's on the phone with? What is he up to? What's his story? I feel like I still have that like nagging question about him, and maybe it's a diversion and there's nothing to be looking into too deeply about Kaji. But I can't forget that gondola ride scene.
Is he the one? He could be the one who did the power. If we're being suspicious of him.
We bring up the idea multiple episodes in a row now of human or non-human hacker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Interesting. I feel like I haven't felt suspicious of Kaji to like that big of an extent though. Like that's why like yeah, we've seen him talking to Gendo and entrusted with Adam, but up until this point, like I wouldn't have said that I felt like suspicious about him, but you're right about the helicopter ride, I guess.
He has the charisma to be a spy.
Yeah.
He has the charisma to be something that we are not going to put on him and pin on him right now. He has that charisma.
I guess we're seeing that through Asuka and her admiration, right? Well, changing the logic codes definitely bought us some time, so quick thinking there. But do you think that the Magi are going to be coming back up in the future, or do you think that they're safe for the time being since we've been able to, you know, chill out and save them at the end of the day? And it ended up being more of like a Ritsuko information side of things.
I would say the thing maybe to pull out as the most important thing here is that whatever's happening in this episode in terms of the Magi being what is the target of the angels is going to be kept secret from any other government officials, anyone outside of this room in Nerve. We are going to just say that the errors that were occurring were a malfunction. So we're trying to hold on to some semblance of security or a flawlessness with the Magi, and I feel like that is something that could continue to come into play later on, that it isn't flawless.
Yeah.
And that if someone or something was able to figure out how to get this far into hacking it, then obviously it's not secure in the slightest.
Yeah. So we've been washed a ton, right?
We've had so many showers.
What was the number? 17 times? I don't know if that's hyperbolic or not, but I wouldn't think it would be. And in terms of like using this to conduct harmonics from their bodies, right? I think that's the line that was on the screen. Why do you think the sensations are feeling so different? Like
the suit is blocking. Are we getting the information that the suits that they put on is blocking some of the synchronization or sensory attributes that could be happening to them when they're piloting Evas? And do you think that if we get rid of what's in between us, that we can then have a more flawless synchronization? Is that really like the theory here? And are we proven kind of right before we have to stop the test? Are we starting to see that that might be true, or there might be more here to study?
This test purpose is to remove the support of your plug suits and conduct harmonics directly from your body. So yeah, I mean, like, if it's more raw of a connection that, you know, you don't have as much of a crutch to lean on, it
More
could end
organic.
up being a better output.
But we don't really get far enough in the test to have that be proven right. All we feel is different weird sensory stuff.
Yeah.
We don't even really, the corrosion starts to happen so quickly as we're testing this that as a viewer, I don't feel like they got any concrete evidence here to know for sure, and they would have to redo a test like this. I will say they were called simulation bodies that they were in. They look like the naked Eva bodies that would be inside the armor of the suits.
Yeah.
Weird looking.
It's so interesting even going back through this episode, even though we just watched it, because so early on you can sure see the creator's personality, can't you? And it's so hard to not like try to speculate or attach that to the Evangelions because of them operating on the same system. I don't know.
Well, you can sure see the creator's personality, but then the next line is where Ritsuko brings up, so she says that,
Yeah.
and then Misato says, "You're the one that created them, right?" And then Ritsuko goes on to say that she is the one that brought it up. There's like this almost this language like she raised it. It was not hers that she created. She brought the system up, which gives like a motherly role to her. Like she has raised this system, almost like her mother was reborn as this supercomputer that she has now raised. Therefore giving her a deep understanding of it. And therefore, could we then say that the Evas are all the kids' parents?
Raised and there's
And we
like
are
a
raising our
kindergarten or a
parents.
preschool with these Evas that we have to like take care of them until they got to this point.
Imagine the perspective shift you'd have about a parent, like parental figure, if you got to actually meet them in their like formative years.
That's interesting. All right. Do you have anything else? This episode is difficult to talk about.
There was a lot of like, it was very quick, obviously, and there was a lot of like scientist stuff being thrown around. You know,
A lot
how
of terminology.
A lot of terminology happening in this episode. I came out of it almost feeling like I had run a marathon in the same way that everyone's fingers were running marathons on the keyboard. Like that tense situation, I would never want to. My reaction time is not fast enough to be in such a high stakes, high important job.
I don't even think it's just like reaction time at that point. It's just being able to perform under pressure. Ritsuko like fucking carried that shit and was like, we still have one whole second.
One whole second.
And her
It's not a
demeanor was so
minus.
calm. Yeah. It's not 0 or a minus.
Oh, I can't work. I always think that maybe I wouldn't be good under pressure, but I will say any like normal life pressure situation that has happened to me, I think I've operated fine. But this extent, I don't know.
I wonder what would be like. So if you had told me that I was a second behind, right? A -1, and I was still trying to do it, I'd be like, well, it's a loss anyway, so I might as well try my best in hopes for a miracle. But if you told me that I had 1 second to spare and I'm on pace to keep it, I think I might feel way more nervous than I would.
I'd fuck up.
Yeah,
because I knew I was literally right at the like split second timing. I think I would mess up because of that. The nerves would just take over, and that is why I sit in this chair and watch anime.
Yeah. All right, you good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hope to see you next time.